everyone, my name is Laura Dunford, and today I would love to guide you through a very relaxing, restful, restorative yoga practice, followed by a soothing body scan. Restorative yoga is a lovely type of yoga to practice when we are welcoming a new lunar cycle. So this practice is themed for you to celebrate the new moon that we have upon us. As we move through the practice, I'll share with you some of the themes of this time of the lunar cycle, but let's dive right into our first restorative posture, and then we can enjoy those tidbits as we move along. Our first posture that we can practice, actually let's talk about props that we'll need for this restorative practice. Restorative yoga uses a lot of props, but not to worry if you don't have bolsters and blocks and things like that. We can find easy replacements around the home. So here I do have a yoga bolster behind me. So that's this big rectangular cushion. If you don't have a bolster for this practice, not to worry. You can make good use of a couple of bed pillows, those larger rectangular pillows, or you might fold a few blankets in a rectangular type of shape. So you could fold some blankets like so, maybe two on top of each other. Two blankets piled like this so that you have a long sort of stack similar to this rectangular shape. Now we have some blocks that we'll use, yoga blocks. You can use cork or foam, whatever you have handy. If you don't have blocks, just consider having a couple of extra pillows around. So we'll all have at least one pillow, one blanket, but you might gather up some extras in case you don't have blocks and bolsters. So you can pause the video, gather what you need, and then come back. Good, so for our first posture, we'll need whatever we're using as blocks and bolsters. So I'll be taking 2 blocks side by side. And then my bolster here in front, so they're touching. So this might be a couple of pillows stacked on top of each other, a couple of blankets. This might be blocks, maybe it's a couple of pillows, whatever you have that works. So this restorative practice is perfect to enjoy as you're winding down your day, moving towards sleeping time, or in the afternoon for a little afternoon reset. So when we're preparing to lie down, we actually want our bum nice and close to the cushion, sort of rolling toward one side. Take your time, and you can lay back. Just make sure that before you're laying back and getting really comfortable, you have a blanket handy if you get a little chilly. You have what you might need for the restorative practice. Blankets, something to cover the eyes perhaps. Your space is all set. And before we relax into stillness, let's take the hands to the knees and draw a few circles outward with your knees here. You're reaching them out and away from each other, down and around and back together again. And begin to cultivate a sense of loving body awareness. And a sense of breath awareness as well. Change the direction of your circles. Massaging your back gently. You might even like to tuck both knees in toward the chest or toward the underarm area and rock from side to side in little boat pose. And shift and sway, massaging the back if that feels good. Wonderful. Then as you're ready with your bum nice and close to the bolster, close to the cushion here, we'll bring the soles of the feet together. Let your legs begin to relax down onto your props in a diamond shape for supported Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle. Now, as you begin to settle in, we want to make sure that there is no effort. All of the effort is at the start of your posture in restorative yoga. So you might take time to turn the bolster to a taller setting if you need a bit more support for your legs. So you can flip it onto its side to prop up your knees, your legs a little bit more if there's effort in the inner thighs or around the hips. Another option is to take a couple of extra pillows under the knees. So if you're not working with a bolster, but rather some blankets and bed pillows, you might just take some cushions like this, like the sort of throw cushions, and you can tuck them under your knees to prop your legs up a bit more. Allowing this time to be a time of deep rest and relaxation for the body. Make sure you'll be very warm. So you might tuck in with a blanket when we calm the nervous system. When we move into the relaxation responses of the nervous system in restorative yoga, our body temperature tends to lower. So you may tuck in. You could cover the eyes. Arms may rest at your sides. Maybe even opening them wide. And just as we move into this cooling, meditative, soothing posture, you might notice the link already. The similarities between restorative yoga and the phases of the moon. The moon often is greeted in the nighttime, a time of rest, renewal, and regeneration. And as you give yourself time and space to relax into restorative postures, you might open yourself up to the possibility that you're also calling in the qualities of energy of Chandra, the moon. As if you're sleeping in your bed, can you let your body be very heavy and relaxed, effortless, feeling cradled and safe, like you're warm and cozy in your bed at night. The new moon phase of the lunar cycle is a particularly restful time. If it were a season, it would be the deep winter. If the new moon time were a time of day, it would be the dark of night. In the breath, the new moon or dark moon phase connects us with the exhalation. Toward the end even of the exhale, when things are really emptying out. Quiet, still, clearing. The energy really builds on the inhale, just as the moon builds to full, or the seasons build to summer here in the northern hemisphere. But then on the exhalation, there's an opportunity to release. Allow yourself to let go of effort. You might think about or just call into your awareness the way that as the seasons change, we move from fall to winter, the soil is regenerating. And the soil of the earth is regenerating under layers of snow, blankets, just as you may be tucked in, resting under your blanket now. Nothing to do or make happen. Give yourself permission to simply be, honoring that you have value even when you're resting. This intrinsic value. When the world is busy and fast-paced, encouraging each of us to be producing always. Can you claim this time to rest? Rest is your right. Breathing softly. And as we slow right down into stillness, you might sense an increased receptivity to what lies beneath all of the movement and the chatter and the busyness. Finding stillness provides us an opportunity to sense just what is here. What is here in your heart? dreams, desires, your goals, what guides you along your path, affirmations, intentions. As you rest, you might notice just what do you intuit? What comes to your mind, or rather to your heart here, as an intention, as a desire for this next lunar cycle? Maybe this is coming through as a feeling, perhaps as an image, or perhaps a present tense statement. A guiding intention. Maybe something like, I am open to new possibilities. I am worthy of love, joy, and abundance. I honor my boundaries and take time to tend to the wellness of my being. Being with your intention, your heartfelt wisdom, for a few more breaths here. Like a map to guide you through this next lunar cycle, can bring your intention to the foreground, trusting that it can guide you through. And taking 3 more deep breaths here in stillness, and you might pay particular attention toward the end of the exhale, that quality of emptying. The quiet release. One more deep breath. Letting it go. And you can start to wiggle your toes here. Wiggle your fingers. Moving very slowly, really honor how restful you've already become. And know that we're going to continue on that path to deep rest and relaxation So your movements are slow, gentle. You might draw your hands to your outer thighs to support your knees and coming back together. Drawing your knees in toward your chest, perhaps, circling. Windshield wipering through the legs, whatever feels comfortable. Rocking a little boat pose, anything that you need here after that. And when you're very ready, we will be rolling over onto the right side. So I like to use my feet to move props away, just so I don't have to get up. So we'll be staying in a reclined posture, but rolling over onto the side. Let's turn the bolster, putting it on the right side of the mat, parallel to the long edge of your mat here. Coming onto the right side body. Now, I like a smaller pillow for support, but you may wish to have something a little bit taller. You could reach for another pillow to put on top if you need a little bit of extra support for your head, or you might use your blocks, and you could put the blocks just as you did for your bound angle pose. You could put them side by side under your pillow to prop up your pillow a bit more. We hug the bolster in nice and close here, but we want to support the low part of the leg, of the left leg. Right leg is long. In this side-lying resting position, make sure that your foot isn't dangling off or that your knee isn't dangling off. We want the whole part of the low leg to be supported. And you might continue to imagine that you're in your bed, continuing to rest. You really could practice this sequence in your bed. Now with the left arm, you may feel comfortable with your arm at your side, up overhead, only if you can be effortless there. Or an option that I love is actually reaching for another pillow or folded blanket. Putting that in front of the body as something to hug. You can hug it in. So as you start to settle into this next restorative posture, just make sure that your right shoulder, your right hip are comfortable. If you need any extra padding underneath them, you might smooth a blanket out beneath the body. Your low part of left leg is supported. Left arm feels comfortable. The head and the neck held. No effort in the neck. You might imagine yourself resting as you rest, maybe under some blankets, just like the soil, regenerating through the winter time to prepare for what's to come. Your seeds of intention. We take time to really listen into the heart to what these might be. You can come back to your intention. And you might imagine them resting dormant. Your dreams getting ready. Lying in wait. this rest, setting us up for success. We can feel renewed for the next lunar cycle, ready for action when we take time to rest intelligently. Feeling your body continuing to let go of each breath. Quietly emptying. Sensing as you continue to let go of effort. Give your whole entire being permission to relax. Just as easily as you know how to exhale, you know how to release and let go of the breath. You know how to slip deeper and deeper into relaxation. Steady, conscious breaths, moving you deeper into rest. One more deep breath here. Letting go. And we'll very gently, very, very slowly transition to the opposite side. So you can simply roll onto your back, keeping the eyes closed, continuing to feel supported by the ground beneath you. And before you flip to the other side, can you reach for your bolster with your hands, and maybe even your legs can support you. Just kind of steamrolling it over your body to the opposite side of your mat, the opposite side of your body. And you can roll onto the left side, I'm going to flip around, but you don't need to do that. So you can just roll over to the left side and begin to settle in there. And I'll just be moving my head to the opposite end of the mat just so I can continue to face you. Now it might be different on this side. Perhaps you need more or less support, more blankets. You may be ready to cover the eyes if you haven't already. You can use an eye pillow or a scarf. Finding the opposite side to bring yourself into balance. Just as we rest in a busy world, to bring ourselves into balance. Make sure that your head and neck are comfortable. Without any effort, you don't need to hold the head, so you check in with the height of your support, adding or minusing inches with props. Notice what's comfortable for the right arm and shoulder. Moving here, shifting as you need, with the intention of taking good care of yourself, of honoring your right to rest, your right to have time to do nothing at all. Make sure you'll be a comfortable temperature. Right leg is supported, so you can just check in as you need. Fine-tuning the pose. And the movements. Slow, more and more, until they soften completely into stillness. You might visualize a tiny seed in your mind's eye. And the prana, the energy of the natural world, offers this seed what it needs to survive and thrive. All of the nutrients, microorganisms, water, sunlight, moonlight, this environment, the intelligence of life supports this seed that's resting dormant for now, but will grow into something much bigger. And know that the same prana, that life force energy that creates the perfect situation for a seed to grow, or that gives the seed momentum, maybe even in imperfect circumstances, to flourish. That same prana lives in you, moves, supports your life, an undercurrent within your being. honoring your innate wisdom. You can sense its presence in each intelligent breath of life you take here. Maybe in your heart beating as you rest. And your vitality and aliveness. And in just a few moments, we are going to roll onto our backs and rest there for the remainder of the practice. You might imagine yourself in a perfect, comfortable, reclined position, laying on the back. What might that look like? How can you get there while maintaining and honoring the relaxed state of being that you've already come home to? Moving deeper and deeper into rest, even as we transition. Every shift, affirming to our own selves, we are worthy of rest. Your relaxation is a priority. When you feel very ready, you can melt onto the back in your own way, in your own time, keeping the eyes closed down if they are shut. You might reach for your bolster with your legs and feet and turn it to be across your mat now, under your knees. You could have it flat, or if you need a little bit more support for the low back or for the hips, then you might turn it onto its side, a little bit more height there. Checking in with the low back, smooth out through any blankets, sealing in the little windows that the blankets might create. So around the edges, those little pockets, can you seal yourself in so there's no drafts coming through? Check in with your upper back, Shoulders drawing down and back here. Arms might open wide after you've adjusted your eye cover if you're using one, your pillow. Sense the spine and how smooth it is here as you rest supported. You might notice if there's anything that you could do to get even more comfortable. Are you as comfortable as you possibly could be at this time? And if not, what could you do to get there? You might think that this little adjustment maybe isn't worth it, not worth the fuss, but know that you are. It is. Any final shifts coming through to bring you to a place of as much comfort as possible. And then begin to welcome the back of the body to broaden, to sink down into your support, while the front of the body softens down toward the back. You might imagine in your mind's eye a new moon, a dark moon. Inviting you to rest. Just as this restorative practice in the nighttime or the deep winter calls you to quiet stillness. I'm going to begin to name parts of the body, of the physical body. And as I name this part, you might imagine yourself placing in this area a dark moon. And welcome a sense of softening, of letting go. Following the sound of my voice here as we scan through the body. Can you imagine a dark moon at the pit of your throat? At the right shoulder joint, right elbow, wrist, pinky finger, ring finger, middle, index finger, and right thumb. A dark moon at right wrist, inviting you to rest in the elbow, shoulder, into the pit of the throat. Left shoulder joint, sense a dark moon in the left elbow joint, wrist, pinky, ring, middle, and index fingers, left side thumb, wrist, elbow, shoulder joint, softening and letting go. Pit of the throat, center of the chest, right side chest, left side, and center of the chest, navel center, pelvic center, a dark moon inviting softening and release in the right hip. Right middle thigh, knee, middle calf, and ankle joint. Right little toe, fourth toe, third, second, and big toe. Resting in the ankle joint, calf, knee, thigh, hip, pelvic center. Regenerative rest, welcomed by the dark moon in left hip joint, middle of left thigh, left knee, middle of left calf, left ankle, and little toe. Fourth, third, second, big toe. Regenerating in left ankle. The new dark moon inviting you to rest in the thigh, rather the calf, the knee, thigh, hip, pelvic center, navel center, chest, throat, third eye center, a new dark moon calling you to rest in the third eye center, the body. The physical and subtle bodies. From this place of deep rest, relaxation, you come back to the intention you set at the beginning of this practice. You might imagine yourself quietly whispering it to the dark moon. Resting intelligently, preparing for what is to come. You may welcome the sound of the Koshi chime. The little twinkling sound you might liken to all of the stars that twinkle more brightly at the time of the dark moon. And as you open to the stars, you might imagine your awareness expanding. You could imagine the vast sky, and then your own self here down on earth. Your body resting here, ready to awaken in the days to come. Your intention ready to receive the nourishment of your prana, of your energy. And take a deep breath in through the nose. A full exhale, slowly, gently emptying. A deep breath in through the nose. You might exhale through the mouth with a soft sigh. Once more as we prepare to transition. Feel yourself continuing to let go with every breath out. Even as you start to shift and move the body, you could rock your head slowly, gently, while really honoring the journey that you've been on through your practice. You could wiggle your fingers, your toes. You might reach your arms out from reclined. You could take a big stretch, like a full body yawn. So if you could yawn, sigh with your physical body. When you are ready, very ready, roll to one side. You might pause in a fetal posture before making your way to a comfortable seat. You could even transition with the eyes closed, just feeling your way with your hands to orient yourself, letting in any light of your space through closed eyes as you take time to reawaken slowly. Noticing the effect of your practice. Sense the presence of your intention in your heart. The seed ready to flourish, ready when you are. But first, resting. You might gather your hands palm to palm at your heart center, or perhaps resting one palm on top of the other at the heart. As a way to honor this indwelling wisdom, these resources within. You can start to slowly flutter open through the eyes, letting in the light of your space. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. More importantly, be sure to take time to thank yourself for claiming time for you to rest and to slow down, to come home to what really is here in your heart. I wish you all a fruitful lunar cycle full of opportunities that you are ready to seize. If you do enjoy restorative yoga, be sure to like this video, leave me a comment, and let me know what was your favorite part of this practice. Subscribing to my channel, I would be so grateful if you would subscribe and can continue to receive more practices just like this one. So I do have a passion for restorative yoga. Yes, and I actually teach restorative yoga on Zoom with a recording sent out after each class. So if you feel the call to join me weekly for different restorative practices, then be sure to check out the description for this video, and I will leave a link to a sign-up page, a registration page for that class, so you can really practice it anywhere, anytime. Anytime's a good time for rest. Yeah, so thank you so much for being with me today, and I hope to see you again soon.